We have online training classroom session this morning, so I'm going to have my tea and get over to the hall and let's get right into the day. So our online classes get a live online meeting every single week, and they're lots of fun. We get to see how people are making out. They get to ask lots of questions about dog training. So Shannon and I, Instructor Shannon, who I've introduced you guys to before, and I are about to do that right now. So let's get into the meeting. Well, that was good. I don't exactly know what I have planned for the rest of the day. I was going to go for a hike, or we were going to go for a hike with the dogs, but it's raining and it's kind of going to be pretty slippery on the trails if we go out. I don't know, we'll see. Maybe I can get to the gym and then plan to do something inside with the dogs later. I don't know. I love days like this though, when I'm not totally sure what I have to do. So a decision has been made and we're going shopping, which is something we don't do very often. Shopping for Kayl at least. So we're going to pick up something that she's been looking at for a long time.
We should go shopping for Kayl much more often, I think.
But we're going to pick up something that she's been looking at for a really long time, and I think she may have finally decided that she wants one.
Yes.
What is that thing?
That thing is the Apple Watch. I would say that we're pretty big Apple fans, and I obviously don't have an Apple Watch, but it's something that I've been really thinking about for the last couple months. It just has a lot of features that I think is going to make life for me and work and teaching and scheduling and traveling and whatever.
And communication, like being able to talk to your watch.
I do like to communicate via telephone.
Yeah, that'll be really
quite
helpful.
often. So yeah, we've been doing a lot of research. We're big YouTube researchers.
Yeah.
So I think we watched like how many?
More
videos?
than 10. Well, a lot of videos.
Yeah, trying to figure out which version was the best and blah 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 blah. Anyways, I think we came up with kind of an idea of what we want. Or
we have to get in there and make a decision. Like you need to sort of hear.
That's the part I'm not very good at.
Hear the facts and hear like if it's going to be helpful. So maybe in the next shot you'll see us driving home with no Apple products in our hands, or you're going to see us. Kayl's going to be wearing an Apple Watch. Well, there you go. Kayl did in fact get an Apple Watch.
It's even customized with an adorable picture of Slice on the front.
And they were really good there. The ladies,
they're amazing.
Yeah, the ladies that we're dealing with was really great. And while we were standing there, one of the other Apple pros or whatever,
he recognized
us. Yeah, from classes. So I guess he's got a Labradoodle, a young Labradoodle that he's gone to our new puppy seminar.
Yeah,
like
so we had like a little dog talk at the Apple Watch station for a few minutes, and 3 people pulled out their phones to show us pictures of their dogs, which was hilarious.
Happens quite often.
Yeah, one of them had a giant Saint Bernard puppy that was so
very
cute.
And humongous.
And humongous. Yeah. Anyways, I've been playing around with my watch for the entire drive home, and I know I'm feeling a little bit car sick, to be honest with you. But it is so cool. I really think it's going to be very helpful. And actually, when I was there, the guy asked what apps I wanted to have like at the front, so I could like get to it the fastest, and I think he was probably expecting me to say like my music or my step counter or something, and I was like, oh, can you put the timer at the front? And he was like, that is the weirdest request.
No, he said that's the best answer I've had so far, because the timer, really? It is a watch, I guess.
No, it's the countdown timer that's so special.
Yeah.
Every thing has a stopwatch, but the countdown timer, that's the one that I want. So I'm all set now. I can't wait to go to class next week and try my watch out. It's
you will see it in future episodes.
Mm-hmm. Well, we just got home from shopping, and I was greeted by a little freckle-faced puppy at the door, which is funny because when we left, she was locked in her crate, weren't you? So she looks like she had a little bit of a party. She ripped up this mat, and I think she tore apart a paper towel over there. Now, luckily, the damage could have been a lot worse, but check your crate doors before you go out. Apparently, 9-month-old puppies aren't ready to be left unsupervised quite yet.
It's not too bad though, considering. I mean, things could have been much worse when all there is a little bit of a mat that's chewed up and crate door wide open. She really didn't get into too much trouble.
I actually just thought of something. I think people may be wondering why I'm loving my dog so much right now when she's just destroyed stuff. But remember, dogs only know that they're in trouble with something if you discipline them right in the act. So even though I was sort of irritated that she wrecked that really adorable mat, I mean, look at this. I can't be upset with her. It was my fault for not checking the door. And she could have done this 5 minutes ago. She could have done this 2 hours ago. I really have no idea. So I can't really get her into trouble for it. She's happy to see me and I'm always happy to see her. So next time I'm gonna have to be a little bit better about checking the crate door. But there's a little dog training tip for you.
So in the past, I had been running Border Collie crosses. Deegan, my black lab, is who introduced me to agility. But a couple of Kayl's Border Collies as well, the retired dogs. And Hippy's gonna go for a real bum scratch here. But because I was running all these different kinds of dogs, when the opportunity came up for me to train Hippy, I thought it'd be a great opportunity for me as a trainer to learn how to handle a small dog. She needs more motivation than the Border Collies do, for sure, as I'm making my way around the course. So the opportunity presented itself. It was Kayl and I having a conversation about me training Hippy in agility, and it's really been a great learning experience. She's really taught me a lot about small dogs.
Yeah, we sort of decided that we would do a bit of a dog switch because Hippy originally was my dog. Well, she's our dog, of course, but I was doing a lot of the primary training with her, and Rad was doing a lot of the primary training with Ken. Of course, they both listen to both of us, and you know, they're both of our dogs. Actually, in saying that, they're probably, anyways, definitely the first two dogs I have ever owned that I've actually shared with somebody. Most of the other dogs that I have were like 1000% mine. But these two definitely belong to both of us. They can switch back and forth very easily, which is kind of nice. But I was really preparing a lot for my world competitions, and Hippy runs so differently than Slam and Funky that I was often struggling being able to bounce back and forth, where Rad was a little bit more similar. So we just sort of made the decision that we thought we would switch dogs, since I had a little bit more time to devote to Rad's development, and Hippy and Ken seemed like an unlikely pairing with like a big dude with tattoos. But this little pink-haired tattoo, or a big pink-haired poodle, yeah. And Ken, actually, they worked really, really well together.
Yeah, and she was such a different dog to train that it was a great experience for both me and her, I think.
Yeah, so she, around our house, is sort of the, how would you describe her, comic relief?
She is definitely the comic relief.
Yes, she is hilarious.
She never stops moving either.
She makes us laugh every single day. She just does the funniest little things. She's so good. She's a great little house dog for sure. But she's hysterical, and she gets along with the Border Collies. I mean, all of the other dogs are twice her size, and that doesn't affect her one bit.
And you know what's pretty unique about Hippy is she's happy just out running on her own. Like, I think she'd be totally content just going for a run out on her own with no other dogs, with no other people, just running. She's totally gratified by the act of running. And it's pretty cute to watch.
And this is her favorite position.
And that is definitely her favorite position on somebody's shoulder.
I learned this when she was a baby puppy. I used to sit and work on my desk, and she would sit on my shoulder for hours. It's the only place where she stops moving, as you can see. You crazy hippa-dippa-dip. So Rad's about 3 years old now, and we got him to be Ken's next competitive dog in whatever he chose to do, flyball, agility, and at the time we didn't really know about Ken's passion for herding because we hadn't discovered it yet. Yeah. And anyways, tell them about Rad's herding life span, which
Rad's a pretty intense dog, which you see anytime he's moving around, but Rad was so intense, and with me being such a green handler, so new to the sport, that it wasn't really that helpful for a new handler to have a new dog, and I really didn't, it was hard to get my timing down. So Rad would run like a wild thing after the sheep, and as anyone who's involved in sheep herding knows, that's not necessarily what you're trying to do. So I continued to train him for almost 8 or 10 months until the opportunity for a started dog came up. But Rad was certainly my agility dog through his foundation, the foundation of his agility experience, and then he sort of became my agility and herding dog. But there reached a point where he was starting to be held back a little bit, I think, by my inability to train him that often. You know, I didn't have the time to train him in both.
And he may have been getting some pressure from me because I saw this incredible dog developing, and Ken has so many hobbies and still at this point a lot of jobs with dogs and fire and all those different things that he didn't have a lot of time to train him. So I basically said, okay, well, I need to train him then, because he was at that time was at a really, really prime age to like really start developing him. I've always been really fond of him as well ever since the beginning.
You're talking about Rad?
Yes.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Of Rad. You're okay. But anyway, so I was more than happy to do some training with him, and then that sort of led into doing a little bit of competing with him. Now, I haven't really competed a lot with him, maybe 5 or 6 trials, and he is, although he's like so closely related, Hippy shake.
That's the Hippy pirate match.
Although he's very closely related to my other Border Collies, he's quite different. He's a little bit, I don't want to say more intense, because it's not like the other Border Collies aren't intense, but he is just a different type of intensity. He gets really high-minded, whereas my other Border Collie Slam, he gets high, but he's still very thoughtful and honest and that type of thing, where Rad's eyes kind of turn into saucers, and he just gets so overexcited that he can't really like think. So that's been a good challenge for me, but something definitely that I'm continuing to work through. Definitely getting a lot better. But there is a rush when you run Rad and agility, because you just never know what's going to happen, but it's pretty exciting. It's pretty intense. Now, both of these dogs are pretty energetic and can be crazy and outgoing and wild, but one thing that I think we're both really thankful for is they're great house dogs. Both dogs can easily chill out. Rad, actually, ever since a young dog, although he's, you know, really intense when I work him, he is sort of an old soul at home. Even as a young dog, if I would, you know, sit down to do some work or whatever, he's always just lying calmly at my feet. You know, you have a shower, he lies calmly on the bath mat. He just has a really, really nice off switch, and he's incredibly sweet. Oh, yeah. Incredibly sweet dog. We both adore him very much. And then this wild woman, if she's not puppy burning or madly chewing on a bone, then she probably has all the pillows and all the blankets on the couch piled up into a giant heap, and then she's a tiny little ball on the very top of it.
Like the Princess and the Pea.
Yes, yeah. The more beds, the better as far as Hippy's concerned.
These guys are just enjoying a little bit of time, hanging out, hiding. Rad is hiding Kayl. Hippy is enjoying the massive Nile bone that she enjoys so much on her double pillow.
She's on her kingdom.
She is. So on that note, I think we're going to wish you guys good night. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit that bell beside the subscribe button so that you're notified from Rad and Hippy Shake and Kayl and myself. Good night.
You like that?